All right, it is 10:05, and we are ready to begin with our first head coach of the day, head coach of Alabama A&M, head coach Cornell Maynor. And this past week, they fell to Florida A&M 35-31. They stand at 3-3, 1-3 in conference play. This week is an off week for Coach Maynor. Coach Maynor, if you could give us a recap of your game and your plans for the off week for your team.
Okay. Recap of the game. We played FAMU here at home, and we knew they had a good football team. Coach Simmons always do a great job, and his team has been playing at a high level. That was a bad loss for us. It was a bad loss. We had a great opportunity to win the football game, and on the other hand, it was a great win for Coach Simmons and his team and his program to hang on and keep fighting and squeeze out a win. We was up 28-10 in the middle of the third quarter, and weren't able to hold on. So fourth quarter, they outscored us 19-3, and we got out of here with a W. So we got some work to do. We're gonna keep fighting. The season ain't over. We need to win out, but we need to start by next week at the Classic and try to get a W there and try to get back on track. We can still have a successful season. We just got to finish strong. Open week. We're gonna practice probably 3 days. Give them 3 days off and go back to the drawing boards and self-scout a little bit, see what we're doing, try to get better in that area, and try to get some guys healed up, get them in the training room, and get back healthy for the stretch run of the last 4 games.
All right, we'll open it up for questions. If you do have a question, please use the hand-raising mechanism on your Zoom. Do we have any questions for the head coach for Alabama A&M, Coach Cornell Maynor? All right, we do have one hand raised. Mo Carter, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, good morning. I know these last couple of weeks haven't been, the best situation for your team. So how important is this bye week for not only you and your players, but also for the program in general?
It's very important. Mo, we need it. We banged up. We got a lot of people banged up, and so is rightfully so. It's football season. You're gonna have that. You guys got to understand they got to do their best, stay in treatment, and then you got to put some tape on them and play. It's just part of the game. But it's crucial for us. We didn't want to go into this bye week on a 3-game losing streak. It's going to make this 2 weeks very long. But we understand we got work to do, and we got to get these guys focused, understanding what we got to do because we let one slip away. So we got to do the little things and continue to play for 4 quarters. We just didn't play for 4 quarters. We played for 3 quarters. So it's a 4-quarter game, though. It's a 60-minute game. Got to get these guys to understand that and finish.
And, of course, you're going to go through the bye week, but then after that, another huge game, not only because it's the next game, but it is the Magic City Classic. Of course, I know you and Coach Ely, you guys go way back. So what are you looking forward to when it comes to preparing for the Hornets down in Birmingham?
It's going to be a battle, man. You know what? It don't matter the records. Throw the records out. When we play those guys, it's always a ball game, man. I think 2-3 years ago it was 3 overtimes. It's always close every year. It come down to the fourth quarter, who's gonna make the last play, and Coach Ely can have those guys ready, flying around. It's the Magic City Classic. They're not where they want to be. We're not where we want to be, but we don't have to do a whole bunch of rah-rah speeches this week or next week because it is the Classic. So both teams be fired up, ready to play, and have a lot to play for because both teams want to win that Magic City Classic. It's very important to both programs.
All right, let's move. Thank you so very much, Mo. Let's go over to Kendrick Marshall and then Dr. Cavill.
Yeah, Coach, you guys are on a 3-game losing streak, as mentioned before. What would you say has been some of the common denominators that have contributed to this particular streak you guys are on right now?
Just not executing turnovers. We're just giving up too many points right now. And so we got to get it cleaned up. We had an excellent chance. We was in great position this past weekend to win the football game, and we didn't finish. So we got to execute down the stretch, continue doing the things we was doing to get us that lead on defense, offense, and special teams, and finish the game out. So we just got to finish. We know what to do. We know how to get leads. We we got to hang on to them though. We got to finish people off.
All right, thanks.
Dr. Cavill.
Yes, Coach Maynard, I want to follow up a little bit in terms of the execution side on both sides of the ball. Go in 2 weeks to prepare in terms of the Magic City Classic. We know what that is like and how important it is for both teams to win that game, particularly coming off tough for both teams. Talk a little bit more about what to do with your team over the next 2 weeks so they can continue to matriculate and get in ways.
Doc, we close, man. We're real close. And it takes all 11 on every play. And that's what I'm trying to get across to my team. We have 10 people doing what they're supposed to. We have one person, it'll mess up the play. And that's in all phases of the football game. Special teams, defense, and offense. We had 5 drops. We had our quarterback make some bad decisions. We had some offensive linemen just whiff on blocks. And so we got a wide receiver wide open, but the offensive lineman whiff on the block, quarterback can't get him the ball. Again, it's just one player. So we're real close. That's how we was able to get the lead. When we executed the way we were supposed to, we had all 11. We were able to execute the way we want to, but then we start falling back and have one guy mess up. We had blown coverage twice, and we're in coverage and they get behind us. And that's just one person not being where he's supposed to be. And it costing us touchdowns and it's costing us football games. So we got to get back to doing what championship football teams do, and that's doing the little things and doing your job. You can't do somebody else's job. Do your job.
I know you look at one game at a time, which certainly is important because of the need to focus. But obviously, this conference is expanding, and so you have teams that are really good in the conference. You're hearing a little bit more about outside of teams playing for the SWAC championship game and now opportunities for the playoffs. There's some things outside of your control, but if you run these wins, is it something that you would have interest in having your team play in the playoffs?
Of course, postseason play, no matter if it's the SWAC championship or the Celebration Bowl or the playoffs. If we could get to 7-3 and be the slip in the playoffs, we would love to represent the SWAC and get an opportunity to play in the playoffs and play for a national championship, chance to play for a national championship. Of course, that's always the goal. If you got a chance to play another game, we definitely we don't have any postseason late classic games where we can't play in the playoffs. So if we can get enough wins and get eligible and get selected, we would love to go.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Weeks.
All right. Thank you, Coach Cornell Maynard. Enjoy the week off from competition and can't wait to see you at the Magic City Classic in Birmingham in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right. That wraps up our moment with Cornell Maynard of Alabama A&M. Now we move on to Alabama State. Head coach Donald Hill-Eley. This past week, he fell to Jackson State 28-7. And now let's see, we switch over. And can you hear me, Coach?
Yes, I got you.
All right. First of all, let's recap last week's game and let's talk about your plans for the off week for your team.
Well, it was a tale of two halves. We played one half of football and didn't play the second half, and they was able to get out with a win. And we went against a good football team where you got to play 2 halves of football, and that didn't work. Now it's time to get back, heal up some, and get ready for the second half of the season, which starts with the Magic City Classic.
Right. Thank you so very much, Coach. Let's open it up for questions for head coach Donald Hill-Eley of Alabama State. Please use the hand raise on your Zoom, or if you need to, please send something in the chat. Coach, could you talk about the atmosphere at that game? How electric was it in Jackson, Mississippi that weekend?
This is, I guess, my second time going down to the play Jackson for the homecoming, and you just talk about a matter of 2 years. You go from a crowd of about 27,000 to a crowd of right at 56,000. So it's no doubt about it. It was a electrifying atmosphere for Black college football. Perfect game day, perfect weather. And it was a good atmosphere to go in to play. Just wish we would have played better for two halves.
If you have questions for head coach Donald Hill-Ely of Alabama State, please use the hand raising mechanism on your Zoom. And Dr. Cavill, you're up.
Yes, Doc, how's it going this morning?
Good morning, Doc. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. I know it was a tough weekend in terms of not being able to get the victory, but I wanted to ask you in terms of the atmosphere. Obviously playing the Magic City Classic in a couple of weeks, which provides a great crowd. But in terms of going to homecoming at Jackson State, you played in a significant crowd as well. Talk about having your team play in that atmosphere and how for the first half they really lived up to playing at a high level.
Well, again, that's what these old HBCU rivals bring. I mean, those kind of major crowds, and just to be able to have a HBCU event of that magnitude, I think our game had more fans than Alabama game or one of the games that they rated it. So to be able to bring the interest back into our game and to have it nationally broadcast, it gave us an opportunity as a program and as a conference to really promote our brand. And I thought it was a great day for it.
Follow-up question in terms of this off week. I know you want to get back and get some things done, but how much in terms of the injury is this a good time in terms of getting some more time before the class?
We get an opportunity to get major key guys back. 3 offensive linemen that's been down, quarterback that's been out. DBs that's been out. We get a chance to get our team back that we started with. Football is a physical game, and as you play in this conference, every team has become more parallel. That it's a lot of pounding to take place. So you normally, when you get to the middle of the road, you have a different look and a different makeup of team. So we just got to get some guys healthy, but we still got to be able to execute. So you have to miss the rest and treatment with practice and preparation. So we have to have a balance in that as well.
All right, let's go over to Stephen Gaither.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. There's been a lot of talk about the Jackson State defense. You got a chance to see them up close, and you've been in HBCU football for a long time. How good is that defense? And maybe where does it measure up with some of the other defenses that you've come up against or you've been a part of, throughout the years?
Well, I mean, when you look at the SWAC conference, it's defense. I mean, you're seeing a lot of good defenses out there, and they have a lot of good players as well. They have a good front seven that does a good job of pressuring you and defeating the one-on-one blocks. So it's a very good defense that is pretty much the caliber of the other defense, our defense, FAM defense. Coach Maynard, and everybody has a good defense, because one of the things that you do in recruiting, you got to be able to stop people to even have a chance in the SWAC. So week in and week out, you're going to see good defenses.
Gotcha. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
No problem.
We have a few more minutes with the head coach of Alabama State, head coach Donald Hill-Ely. If you have a question, please use the hand raising mechanism on your Zoom. Coach, can you talk about preparing for the Magic City Classic? Is this a preparation in which you have to try to rein back the emotional side of a matchup like that, or do you allow all of that to enter into your preparation?
You know what? This week is mainly just gathering your team. We're coming off our second loss in the East, so we have to reassess and reset goals and be able to go into the second half of the season, even though we know it's a long season, but we have to now bring the team back together and work on the dynamics of everything that centers around unity on a team. And then next week, we'll really start focusing on the Magic City Classic and whatever energy, momentum, or excitement that brings to give them motivation to go out and play. You want to keep all of that and continue to put before them what's at stake. When it comes down to the recruiting, when it comes down for another conference opportunity. But for this week is mainly focusing on the dynamics of your team, of trying to keep things together and moving forward, coming out of the bye week as the expectations now have kind of unfolded for what's really at stake. That it's not like the going to play the first game of the season. We're going to play game 7, and some things have already been ironed out. So now you have to rework your dynamics. So that's what we'll be working on this week.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We have a few more minutes with the head coach of Alabama State, Donald Hill-Eley. If you have a question, please use the hand raising mechanism on your Zoom. And we do have a person up. Carl Williams, you're up.
Hey, Dr. Hill-Eley, how are you today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Do you take anything from the fact that this team that you played last week handled Alabama A&M and beat them quite more significantly than they beat you? Do you take anything from that in terms of comparing your team to what is going to be your next opponent in a couple of weeks?
No, you can't. Week in and week out, you have different outcomes for teams. The bottom line, is either a L or is a W. It's not really about that point spread. I mean, you can check it week in and week out. Those things tend to change. It was 2 good football teams that played the week before. They have, Jackson ended up having more plays and of scoring than the other team, but it was still 2 good football teams. This past week, it was 2 good football teams that played, and even though the scores that really is never that indicative of what team is taking the field, because any given Saturday in this town.
Well, what did you take from the fact that you were able to somewhat limit? What did you go in with in terms of the ideas that you wanted to accomplish to kind of keep them from throwing the ball around and putting up those kind of big numbers?
Well, we wanted to, disguise some coverages. We wanted to pressure the quarterback. And we wanted to keep the ball away, from them with offense. But again, we was able to do it for a half, but second half we kind of lost our composure, and they was able to get some of the things that they've been getting going in the throw game. As well as the run game. They came out and was able to, get behind us a couple times in the secondary and got some scores, which kind of changed the game and changed the actual pace of the game that we had.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Williams. We do have someone who came in through the chat. Kari, if you want to ask a question, you can at this time. Kari?
Thank you. Coach, I noticed that Jackson State did a really good job on your run game last week. What did they do that was particularly effective against the run?
They got a good front, and and we were trying to zone some of the guys, and and that wasn't working. They was able to get 7-8 guys down into the box, which created the one-on-one deal in with our pass protection. But more importantly, it gave them a plus guy in the box to stop our run, which made us one-dimensional.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you so very much, Coach. And we wish you a good off week and can't wait to see you guys in Birmingham for the Magic City Classic. Thanks again to head coach Dr. Donald Hill-Eley of Alabama State.
Thank you all.
All right. And we will move on to the head coach of Bethune-Cookman. Head coach Terry Sims still in search of their first win. This past week, they were defeated by Prairie View A&M University 35-29. This week, they're on the road taking on Jackson State. That is a 2 p.m. Eastern start, 1 p.m. Central. Coach Sims, thank you for joining us. And our first question, can you give us a quick recap of the game against Prairie View A&M and your initial thoughts on playing Jackson State?
Well, good morning to start off. I don't honestly think we played a bad game on Saturday. Going back, watching the film, there were 4 plays. We had a field goal that was blocked and returned for a touchdown. We had a receiver fall down, and the ball actually bounced off his face mask and right into the corner's hands. Never seen anything like that in my life. And we had 2 blown coverages. That's 28 points. Not to take anything away from Prairie View, Coach Dooley and his guys, that he had them prepared, and they took advantage of opportunities. And we just didn't do enough to win the game. Still not down on this football team. These guys are still working. We just have to find a way to stop shooting ourselves in the foot and continue to make plays and make the plays that we're supposed to make. And finish football games. And I think as far as Jackson State, it's a good football team. They have a good football team. They're well coached, and their guys run around. They play for 60 minutes. We're going to have to go to Jackson, Mississippi and match their intensity to have an opportunity to win this football game. Simple as that.
Thank you so very much, Coach. We do have 2 members of the media with their hand raised, James Hill. And then after Mr. Hill, we'll have Kendrick Marshall. Mr. Hill, you're up.
Coach, it's James Hill with BNC Sports. When you're coaching a football team, there's a couple things that come in mind. At the college level, young gentlemen get an opportunity to earn an education, and we can't lose sight of that. Can you talk about that component, and then also, again, the process and staying the course?
Well, our thing around here, since 2010, early 2010, we're building men. Obviously, we want to win football games. That's one of the huge purposes for all of us being here. But we want to make sure that these young men are able to be positive, productive citizens when they leave college. And it's all about the college experience. And again, winning football games should be one of those positive experiences that you go through. And we're definitely trying to get back on track and get there.
All right, let's move on to Kendrick Marshall and then Dr. Cavill. Mr. Marshall?
Yeah, Coach, your program has gotten a taste of SWAC football through 4 conference games this season. What is your assessment of the league and compared to the MEAC that you have right now?
I mean, it's good football. I'm not, I said that, before we played one game. It's a great football conference. There are great football teams in the MEAC also. I think it's all good football, hard-nosed football. I think all the athletes on all these teams, it's a parallel now. You have good players, good coaches on all these teams. And all these programs are well prepared. They're well equipped. So I'm not gonna say I'm impressed because I've thought that's what it would be. It's not a shock, I should say. I'm not surprised that we're running into good football teams. Not my first time dealing with the SWAC. I had 5 years in the SWAC early in my career. Still know a lot of the coaches in this league, and they do a great job. So it's nothing surprising about it. We knew what we were getting into, and by no stretch of the imagination would I think that we would come in and wouldn't have to play great football to win these games.
As a follow-up, are you surprised that you guys haven't been able to get off to a better start in the league than you hoped for?
Yes, I am. I am surprised because we're not to take anything from anyone. I say that every week, but we're beating us before we can allow anyone else to beat us. One game it may be penalties, the next game it may be, we're just not making the plays at one position or another that we need to. So we have to get back to being us and playing football the way we play it. And I am surprised that we're not in a better position, but we're here now. It's something, unfamiliar territory. I've never been 0-7 at anything, but it's time to, not worry about that. That's in the past. And we have to push forward and continue to do what we're doing and keep working hard and wait for one of these things to pop.
All right, thanks.
All right. All right. Up next, we have Dr. Cavill, and then we have Kari, who raised their hand through the chat. Cavill, then Kari. Dr. Cavill.
Thank you. Inside H Sports Lab. Coach Sims, your team generally has a reflection of your attitude in regards to really playing the game, tough nose in the trenches and actually all over the field. You talked about in your last answer in regards to keep fighting. Is because of takes your attitude, is that something that you have to talk about, or is that something that the team already, that it's the next game, let's keep focused, we're close, we're going to do what we do? Talk about getting us an understanding of what takes place in your locker room and on the field.
Well, I don't think it has to be said, but it is said. And we want to remind them, constantly what our standards are, and the older guys that are here, they understand that. I'm never going to offer up any excuses, and I have not said any of it, all season. We're playing a lot of young football players. We're playing a few transfers that are young transfers. They're guys that still have 3 years left to play, and a couple prep school guys. So some new guys in our system, some new guys that are just scraping the surface and understanding everything we need from them in this program. Not gonna say it's anybody's fault anyway. And at any time you should be ready to play a football game. And that's what I tell our guys. We're not gonna worry about the things we can't control, but we can control us. And that's what we have to get better at doing.
Now, in terms of this matchup coming up, I want to hit the road to go to Jackson. Obviously, they're playing some good football, but in terms of what you've seen on film thus far, offensively, some things that you look to get done against that defensive front that's playing pretty well right now.
Well, my biggest thing, I think, when you look at what they do, because they have a lot of different packages that they get, on and off the field, we have to make sure, as I said in the opener, we have to match their intensity. We have to take what they're giving us, and we're not going to force things. You don't want to go up against a defense like this and you're running into a brick wall. You have to pick your spots and take the things they're giving you, and we have to play smart football and take care of the ball.
All
Similar
right,
to the approach you take offensively as well?
Excuse me?
I was going to say, is that the same approach you take offensively as well?
Oh, yes, no doubt. No doubt. We're taking the same approach in all three phases.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Dr. Cavill. We have Kari, then Jim Kleinpeter. Kari, then Jim Kleinpeter.
Coach, hitting the road to take on JSU this week. They're coming off a homecoming with 53,000 plus. I'm curious to see if they can follow it up in terms of, crowd and atmosphere. What kind of atmosphere are you expecting this weekend?
I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. You look at Jackson State in the past, even when they were not winning, they were not as successful as they're being right now, their fans still came out. They still averaged 20, 30,000 people when they were not being very successful. So they have a loyal fan base. They have a great group of students that get together and support them at their games. So we're looking for an electric atmosphere. We're looking for a great game day atmosphere, a great college football atmosphere. When we go to Jackson, we would expect nothing less.
Appreciate that.
All right, Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, you just played against Prairie View and Jawan Pass. I was wondering what your impressions of Pass were and of the Prairie View offense.
Well, I've been knowing Jawan a long time and have thought the world of him before he went to Louisville when he was in high school. Did a lot of great things then. I think he's a very poised young man. He has a grasp of their offense and what they want to do. And I think he managed the game and moved the ball around as he needed to keep them in the ball game. And they had a couple plays here or there that broke, and he was able to be successful. So I think he's a great quarterback. I think he does a great job of managing the game and managing their football team.
What about his physical abilities? What type of quarterback is he?
He's a guy that, you know, he's a big guy, but he can run. He can run to be a big guy. He has a nice arm. He will pick you apart. We had to keep pressure on him to not allow him to stand back and just deliver the ball. So I think as a quarterback, he's up there with some of the top guys in this league right now, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Coach Terry Sims, we thank you so very much. Good luck to you as you go to Jackson to take on the Tigers of Jackson State. Thank you so very much, Coach Sims.
Thank you.
All right, next up will be the head coach for Florida A&M University, head coach Willie Sims. Coach Sims, are you there?
We just got off of Sims. It's Simmons.
Excuse me, Simmons. Excuse me. I had to, add on the letters to the rest of your name there. Head coach Willie Simmons defeated Alabama A&M 35-31, and they had a 19-3 fourth quarter run. And this was a huge win for their program. They're 4-2, 2-1 in conference play. And we're going to pull you up, Coach. Hang on one moment. And let's get you over here. All right, Coach. And I know we have a number of people who are standing in line to speak. But first of all, let's talk about that game and talk about that catch and your feelings on this week.
Definitely excited to be on. Again, want to first off start off by saying my condolences go off to the great General Colin Powell, who unfortunately succumbed to COVID complications this morning. So huge loss for us. And I just want to send my condolences to he and his family. But very excited about last week's win. Huge come from behind win on the road, which is always tough to do. Alabama A&M played a really good football game. I knew that they'd do so. I had no doubt that they'd come in and give us their best shot after coming off 2 straight losses. They're a resilient bunch. They're a well-coached team. They play for a head coach who has a lot of energy and a lot of passion. And I knew that they come out ready to go. And so we shot ourselves in the foot there with a couple of untimely mistakes. Had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Had an interception that bounced off of either the ground or our player. I still couldn't see off the film where it hit, but bounced up and went into their arms. And had a couple of miscommunications on defense that gave them a couple of early touchdowns. But our guys stood the course. They were resilient. They never doubted that as long as there was time on the clock that we'd have a chance. And I think that's the mark of a championship caliber football team, that we can overcome adversity. And we faced our fair share this past weekend in the form of travel, hotels, meals, and even during the game. So very excited about this group, how we came together and overcame and won together. So a great win, puts us at 4-2, 2-1 in conference play, keeps our postseason hopes and aspirations alive. And it gives us our first road win in the conference, which is something that we need moving forward. We want to play one more game here at Brad Memorial Stadium. So out of the next 5, 4 of them will be outside the confines of our home. So in order to win in this league, you got to win on the road. But another tough challenge this week against a Mississippi State team that's playing spirited football. Tough, hard-nosed team. It'll be in Mississippi. It's not an easy place to get to, nor is it an easy place to play. So we'll have to be ready to play. We'll get their best shot, their A game. So we'll have to prepare to mentally and physically be ready to take on the challenge. But excited about the opportunity and excited about this group that I'm able to lead every day.
All right, we do have a number of members of the media who are ready to ask questions. We will begin with James Hill and then move on to Kendrick Marshall. In waiting, we'll have Dr. Cavill and Mr. Gaither. First up, James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, James.
Can you talk about the impressions and your takeaways from your last game this weekend, and then move forward into Mississippi Valley, as you say, just continuing the process in the SWAC each Saturday?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway was just this group showed what type of character we have. We challenged them before the game, and I challenged them at halftime. My halftime speech was simple. We have 30 minutes to show who we are, what type of team we are, and those guys did that. They came together again. You didn't see heads down on the sideline. You didn't hear negativity coming from the guys. When we fumbled the ball and they scored, the defense didn't say negative things. When we threw the interception, when we gave up a defensive touchdown, which is rare these days, we didn't fall apart. We stayed together, and that was the biggest takeaway from this group. So we're a close-knit team, and my goal at the beginning of the season was to develop the closest team in America, and we're getting close to that. So that was what I was most proud of this past week.
All right, let's move on to Kendrick Marshall. Kendrick Marshall, you're up.
Coach, I asked Coach Sims this question earlier. Coming over from the MEAC, I know there's different styles of play, dealing with different atmospheres and different cultures. Going through the conference in the SWAC as you have now these last couple of weeks, what is your assessment of this version of the SWAC compared to the MEAC?
Well, obviously I spent 6 years in the SWAC, so I'm all familiar with the atmosphere, the environment, the game day, the game day feel. And I think it's the same. There's a lot of excitement in the league now, and rightfully so. You have great competition, a balanced league, I think top to bottom. My good buddy Terry, I was just looking at their scores earlier. They're probably 20 points away from being right here in the thick of this thing. And they lost a lot of one possession ball games. And so, you can look at the records and say that Jackson or Prairie View, are light years ahead of other teams in the conference. Well, that's not the case. Every week you got to play. And that's the mark of a good, strong conference where every week you have to bring your A game. So I'm excited about the direction of the league. I'm excited about the coaches that are in the league. I think we have very, very talented players. And, we know we have to come to play every week. And this week against Mississippi Valley State will be no different.
Thanks, Coach.
Next up, Dr. Cavill, and then Stephen Gaither. Dr. Cavill.
Coach Simmons, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Doc. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure. I know you've been in this before, even as a head coach, but sometimes when you come back, you still get a little bit of those pledging hours. So we get you with your name sometimes.
No problem.
With that, no problem. With that, I did want to ask in terms of that matchup that you had this past week, a classic matchup in terms of both ways, big plays on both sides. Talking about the emotion that you go through as a coach on the sideline of not getting too high or too low so your players have that same attitude that you speak about, that they play in the game.
Yeah, football is an emotional sport. It's a 60-minute battle. It's a roller coaster. You're going to have those ebbs and flows throughout the game. It's a game of momentum. They caught some early momentum there in the third quarter and made some plays. And we, had to stay the course, right? And that's the beauty of football. I talked to the team, in pregame. I think football, boxing, MMA are probably the three most violent sports that you can watch. The difference in those two sports, MMA and boxing, is that it's scheduled for 3 rounds in MMA or 12 rounds of boxing. It doesn't have to go that long, right? You knock somebody out in the first round, fight's over. They don't give that person smelling salt and wake them up and say, hey, you got to keep going. You got 12 more rounds to go, 11 more rounds to go in boxing. We were all mad back in the day that Mike Tyson was making us waste our money, right? He was knocking people out in the first round. Well, the beauty of football is it's going to go 4 quarters. No matter what happens early, no matter how hard you get hit on the first drive of the game, the first quarter, you have to finish the game and play a whole 60-minute 4-quarter football game. So the good thing for us is we got down early. They had us on the ropes. They gave us some body shots. They may have even knocked us down. We were down 18 points, but we were able to get up knowing that we had more football to play, more time on the clock, and we stayed, together. We didn't break, we didn't fold, and the team that survived the emotional highs and lows of the game was the team that was able to come out victorious. So I'm just excited that this team has really bought into that message of every play for a 60-minute football game. If you continue to believe and fight, and for us, believe in our 7 Fs, that you'll have success in the end. And I think Saturday's game was a perfect example of that.
One
Got
follow-up
one more
question as we move on.
Dr.
ahead,
Cavill,
Doc.
we're gonna have to put you on
No
hold. We
problem.
got one other member of the media, Dr. Stephen Gaither, and we're gonna have to move on. Stephen Gaither, your question.
Coach Simmons, how you doing this morning?
Hey, Stephen.
Hey, question for you. The beginning of the season, McKay came out, was your starter. Self-sledding against JSU, but had some good games since then. But in that second half, is that the McKay that you thought that you would see all season? And just talk about him, and again, your running back Bonnet, and what makes those guys special for you guys.
Well, if anybody's watched the docuseries, which I encourage you all to do, ESPN Plus, get your subscription. Why Not Us? FAMU Football. You will see why Bishop Bonnet plays the way that he does. Right, his story is compelling, and that's why he's the football player he is. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time on him because I think he's getting the just due that he deserves from the docuseries. Rashawn's a guy that is getting better every week. He hasn't played a lot of football in his life. He only played 1 year of high school football, and he's in his really second year of starting, in his life. And so he's only 5 games in, but with every start, he matures, he develops, he grows, the game slows down for him. And you're starting to see the mental aspect catch up to the physical aspect. He's always had a strong arm. He's always been able to drive the ball down the field, but things are starting to slow down as far as his processing. And the more he does, the better he'll be as a quarterback. So he has a bright future. Again, we just have to protect him, be smart, run the football, which we've done the last few weeks, protect him, keep him off the ground. And he's a guy that can lead us to victory. And he's shown that over the last few weeks.
All right. Thank you, Head Coach Willie Simmons, and good plug for your docuseries. You're a good marketing person there, Coach.
Hey man, I take cues from my great friend Dr. Cavill. He always talks about my marketing degree. So I didn't give Clemson all these parking tickets for nothing.
Very good, Coach. Thank you. Good luck to you as you go to Ida Bena to take on Mississippi Valley State. And we will move on now to Head Coach Broderick Fobbs, the head coach of Grambling State University. Coach Fobbs, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Thank you so very much, Coach Fobbs. And this past week, you were winners over Texas Southern, 34-20. Let's talk about that game and your plans for this week.
Well, it was homecoming week. It was really a beautiful day, good day for football. Thought we were ready to play. We were prepared. Our kids did a really good job of focusing in the midst of, of so many people coming home and enjoying homecoming. I thought defensively we played really, really well. There may have been, 2 possessions where we didn't play well. Maybe the second possession of the game, and then maybe the last possession defensively, we didn't play well, but I thought we played stellar. All the other possessions did a really good job of turning them over and taking the ball away and then scoring points off of that. Our defense did a really good job of that offensively. We're still continuing to be a work in progress. I thought in spots, we did some really good things, made some plays, but we're still a work in progress and got to continue to work in order to develop and to grow offensively. So very, very pleased to get the victory. Very, very pleased, to score, the number of points we scored, but also to play really good defense. And then also to play really well in the kicking game as well, because we blocked the punt, but then also had an opportunity to pick it up and score. But it really put us in position, to score, another time. So very, very pleased with our performance, and very, very pleased, to be able to go into an open week, to rest a little bit.
Thank you so very much, Coach. We'll open it up to the members of the media. We have Ethan Sands first, James Hill second, and Dr. Cavill third. Ethan Sands, you're up.
Coach,
Good morning. There you go.
How you doing today, Coach?
All right.
With homecoming being one of the longest weeks of the season, how will you and your team use this bye week to rest and recuperate to continue their success?
It's what we always do. First thing is we evaluate, what we've done in the previous 7 weeks and see what's glaringly bad, but then also see what's glaringly good and then try to build on the good and eliminate the things that we're not doing well, and channel our practice to focus on those things to strengthen us and be prepared and be ready to go.
Speaking of homecoming, unfortunately, there were 2 shootings in the Grambling area. It was talk that you had a team leading up to the weekend and trying to keep them safe out the weekend.
You were cutting in and out on me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Speaking of homecoming, unfortunately, there were 2 shootings in the Grambling area. Was there a talk that you had with your team leading up and trying to keep them safe throughout the weekend?
I can't understand the question.
Coach Fobbs, he was saying that there were a few shootings in the Grambling area. What were you telling your team in order to stay safe over this past weekend?
Right now, the focus is on the game, and like I said, we played well. Texas Southern came to play. They made some plays also. But at the end of the day, it was really, really, really good to see us come out, and play Grambling Tiger football.
Thank you so very much. Let's move on to James Hill and then Dr. Cavill. Mr. Hill.
Coach Fobbs, can you talk a little bit about the Grambling way and Coach Robinson's legacy, Coach Rob? And again, that was a great victory you had this weekend.
Yeah, the focus, Coach Rob, was real close with my dad. My dad and he were real close. So I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with him and to know a lot of the insights of how he wants things done and how he's always envisioned a program being. And really for us, of course, winning football games is the most important thing. But what equally is as important is development and developing of young people and making sure that we put out positive people and to do things the right way. There's a way that we're supposed to do things, and that's just the way that we've always been taught, how to do them. We don't cut corners. We don't do little things to try to hurt anyone else. Our focus is to just do what we're supposed to do, and that way we can sleep at night, knowing we've done a really good job of doing things down this way.
Thank you, Coach. Have a great bye week.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Cavill and then Jim Kleinpeter.
Coach Fobb, I wanted to revisit what you spoke about in terms of how well is playing specifically against Texas Southern. What were some of the things that you were able to specifically to Texas Southern that was just coming off playing really the last couple of weeks?
Well, Texas Southern has a really good plan. And, I think Coach McKinney and they do a really good job offensively. They got a couple of really good wideouts that makes a lot of plays for them. And then I think, they're one of the better offensive lines that we've seen this season. So they were pretty good, but I thought defensively we did a really good job of covering and being where we're supposed to be. And then our man coverage as well as our zone coverage. We didn't get to the quarterback as much as we normally do, but we did do a really good job of making him uncomfortable. But then also disguising coverages and mixing in coverages in order to make sure that we're effective. So I thought that had a lot to do with our success. I'm pretty sure, Coach McKinney would say that, there were a lot of turnovers that were given to us, and we took some away. And then there was some that, the ball just kind of slipped out of guys' hands and we scooped it and scored. So, but, I don't take anything away from our defense. Our defense plays stellar. And, they've done a really good job of turning people over in the 7 years, 8 years now, that we've been here. So we practice it, we work it every day. And what you work and what you do well ends up showing up on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Mr. Kleinpeter, I think you may have, if you have a question, go ahead.
My question was answered. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you so very much. We have less than a minute left with Coach Fobb of Grambling State University. And we do have one more question from Dr. Cavill. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to follow up with that a little more in terms of what you want to see on your offensive side of the ball as you continue the season.
Yeah, we're dwarfing into something different. I believe in being a physical football team, but playing fast and up tempo and being explosive. And we have to grow that and build that. Just like we've done before. When we first got here in 2014, we had to build it and we became what we wanted to be. So that's no different now. We kind of had a pause in things. And with that pause and with the changes, comes new blood. So for us, we're in the process of growing and building that. Of course, we're not pleased where we are, but we are making progress. And as a football coach, who's a teacher by trade and by nature, that's really all you can ask for, is to continue to grow, continue to develop, and continue to get better.
All right. Thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you.
Broderick Forbes, the head coach of Grambling State. Enjoy your off week and have a great day. Next up, we will have Doc Campbell of Arkansas Pine Bluff. They were defeated by Southern University 34-7. This week, they go on the road to the University of Arkansas. That is an 11 a.m. start Central Time, noon Eastern, and you can catch that game on the SEC Network. Coach Gamble, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. All right, Coach, let's talk about your loss to Southern University and your initial thoughts on your upcoming game against the University of Arkansas.
Southern played well. We didn't. We had 5 turnovers, and they capitalized off our turnovers. We had 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions right away. Very uncharacteristic of us. We moved the ball. We still struggled a little bit in the gold zone. Well, in our area, you guys were, it was red zone, getting down there and tight, not coming away with any points. They did a good job. We honed in on some things that we need to be better on, and we did that. And then we gave up some other things that we're usually good at. We stifled them in their pass game. And they got a good quarterback. I like their quarterback. He's a very accurate guy. But we didn't get to him a lot, but we didn't give up the big pass. And so that was encouraging. But then as we shut that down, they were able to run it. And I think their running back had a career day against us. So, we're showing up some things in one area, and then things bust away at the seams in another. So it was a good job by them. I thought they had a good scheme, and they did it well offensively, scheming us up. Defensively, offensively, we just shot ourselves in the foot, and some of it's due to them. But 5 turnovers is going to be tough to beat anybody. So, and that was big difference in the game there. We got to get back to playing complementary football, and we're not doing that right now. But so we're working at it. This week coming up, got Arkansas, good football team. They're much improved than what they've been in the past. They're much better than what they were when we signed the contract. I can tell you that. So right now, for us, is we're going to compare. We really got to take care of ourselves first, before we even move on and start talking about those guys. But have taken a look at them. We're diving into it right now. But they're a good football team. They're well coached, and they play tough.
All right, we do have some questions from the media who have joined us. James Hill is first, and then Perry Daniels. James Hill, you're up.
Doc, it's James Hill with BNC Sports. When you look at going in to play the Arkansas Razorbacks, talk a little bit about showcasing the HBCU experience, the SWAC brand, and playing on a big stage. And again, the Southeastern Conference, and a lot of eyeballs get to see you guys play this week.
Well, it is a historical game. It's going to, for as an in-state game, and for us is we're looking forward to it, But like I said before, we got to take care of ourselves so that we can go represent the right way, and play the brand of football that I know we're capable of playing. We haven't done that here in the last couple of weeks, so. But we gotta get ourselves back right so we can go up here and play this team. For us to, we're going to play against SEC opponent. But for our guys and all of us, we can't get caught up in playing the letters. And what do you mean by playing the letters is SEC. We got to go play against the guys that's in there in those helmets, and those are the guys who we got to go get prepared for and go play.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Perry Daniels, then Dr. Cavill. Perry Daniels, you're up.
Coach Gamble, good morning. If you could speak about the Southern University offensive line, they seem to have dominated that game. A lot of those guys were picked to be all SWAC at the preseason. Can you speak to the talent on the offensive line of Southern University?
Not only the talent, I think they're well coached. And I thought they were well coached. I thought they had a good game plan, a real good game plan. They schemed us up pretty good. We stifled them at times, but they had the home runs, the big time runs, which led to one play drives, and had a dynamic running back. I thought they were, I think two of the backs were out, but this might have been the best one that they got, so I know he definitely was probably the faster of the crew. And I'm very familiar with the Ben kid. I don't think he played at all. I don't know if he made the trip or not, but the guy that they had is pretty doggone good, and he's a freshman. So, but up front, those guys are pretty good. They're real good. They're real good, and they do a good job. Like I said, we stopped the run. I mean, stopped the pass, but we weren't able to touch the quarterback like we're used to doing. But even when doing that, we kind of made them one-dimensional, and with the guys they have up front, they did a good job with those. Those guys do a good job.
And Coach, let me ask you, it doesn't seem like your team has played with the same type of desire since the Alcorn game. What is it going to take to get them back to that level of competition?
Well, and this is the honest truth, is now we all going through injuries. Every team, we're not able to overcome our injuries. We went to the game, we had our three best linemen, three of our better linemen were out. One of our top corners out, safety hurt. So we're plugging and playing with new guys, and we got to get those guys up to speed. And, nobody cares about, they're not going to stop playing just because you don't have your good guys ready to go, and they're out. So we're battling through some injuries and things like that. So across the board, and really it kind of crossed my mind, what are we really doing throughout the week? Just to get our guys to game day. We're having what is it, Murphy's Law? What can go wrong is going wrong. As far as us when it comes to the injuries, and I'm talking about injuries on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. When you're just trying to we got to be able to get the game day. I can tell you that right now.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, Dr. Cavill.
Yes, Coach Gamble. One philosophy or theoretical question in terms of playing a non-conference game this far into the season, where you're usually playing your conference game. I know Prairie playing a similar type of game late in the season, and every once in a while this happens. Is there concerns or work in terms of playing a non-conference game this late in the season?
Yeah, for me, two things. You want to play them early. You want to play them in September. And I always said that you don't want to play back-to-back pay games. That could be demoralizing as well. But you definitely don't want to, you try not to want to do it in the midst of conference play, in the middle of conference play. Because, right now my mind is on how we're going to win a conference game. And now we got to take a step back and go play a non-conference game. And now you're worrying how much do you play your guys. You would love to have another bye week to get guys back healthy. But, so those are things, philosophy-wise, I would rather play them early on. You play them in September, and then you don't play them in back-to-back weeks. This time of year, it's a tough one. I don't know if we'll ever do this again, but it was done. And I kind of jokingly said it earlier on, and about a week ago, and this morning, this contract was signed back when Chad Morris was the coach. But this team here is taking on the personality of the head guy, and he's an offensive line guy. So they offensive line guys think a lot different than a skill coach. So so that it's gonna we got to show up and play. And we're gonna play better. I tell you that.
Time and your frankness on the answer. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much, Coach Doc Gamble of Arkansas Pine Bluff, headed to Arkansas to take on the University of Arkansas, 11 a.m. Central start, noon Eastern time on the SEC Network. Coach Gamble, thank you so very much. Good luck to you this week.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And now we move over to Itta Bena, Mississippi Valley State head coach Vincent Dancy. Are you there, Coach?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. Thank you so very much for joining us this past week. You were defeated by Alcorn 24-12. This week, you will be hosting Florida A&M University, 3 p.m. Central start, 4 p.m. Eastern. This is the first time you guys will meet since 2013. First of all, let's talk about the game against Alcorn and give us a preview of your initial thoughts on Florida A&M.
I thought this weekend game was a to me it was a slugfest. Both defense was playing well. I thought our guys fought. I thought they battled. But like I said, we went up against a good Alcorn State team, a well-coached football team, and in the end they was able to pull away on us and score a late touchdown. But I thought our guys fought hard, played hard. We moved the ball up and down the field offensively. We just couldn't capitalize when we needed to in the end zone. We just couldn't put the ball in the end zone for some strange reason. Every time we take 2 steps forward, we go backward one, either from a penalty or their defense is just playing really well. Defensively, I thought our guys played well. They stepped up to the challenge. I thought we played well enough to win the game, but we just didn't do enough execution offensively to help us win the game. But FAMU is another real good football team, well coached, and we just gotta again play lights out, in order to come out with a victory this weekend against FAMU.
All right, we do have some people asking questions, and one question will be with James Hill. James, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody in the Valley of Scholars are well. Can you talk about your quarterback, Mr. Eason, and also the running game from Mr. Johnson, what you see with those two gentlemen?
I think every week Caleb Johnson, he emerges as one of the top running backs in this conference. Week in and week out, we are able to rely on that young man to eclipse 100 yards. I think he's done it in almost 3 or 4 consecutive games right now. So he's our workhorse, and we would continue to rely on that young man. But I thought Jelani early on, he just didn't start the game out well. Passing the ball, we gotta have more, passing yards than we had on Saturday. Whether it was the wind, I don't know what was the factor. The wind may have been a factor in the game, but I just didn't think he executed well in our passing game. Of course, we rely on him to do some running himself, but I just think he has to get better and be more consistent in order for us to be better offensively. In order for us to win, he has to be more consistent with the passing game.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Coach, this will be the first time that you have Florida A&M on your schedule since 2013, and you do have what some people would say is the 12th man, which is your turf. I know there's a turf campaign, but when you go to Itta Bena, how important is that grass, and does that help your team at all?
Grass is grass to me, but at the end of the day, I just think it's a tough place to play. A lot of people don't like to come into the town of Itta Bena to play football. It's not a place, it's not a hotel in the near area. You have to drive down early to get here. But it's just a tough place to play. We got great fans, a great atmosphere around. So I don't think it has a lot to do with the grass. I just think it has a lot to do with the environment that's surrounding the grass. But I'm glad that we got another home game at home to play in front of our crowd. Our players will be another game. They'll be excited to play at home. So like I said, it's a good, well-coached football team. That right now they're hitting their strides, especially offensively. Week in and week out, they're improving offensively. We all know about the defense. and how you have to contain those guys. But like I said, we got our hands full again this weekend, and again we're going to step up and be ready for the challenge.
What do you think has been the biggest thing in the turnaround of Mississippi Valley State football? What's been the number one thing that people may not see, but you have seen that has helped this team turn things around?
All the players, no doubt it's the players. You know, like I said earlier, you know, we needed to play football games. I have a lot of new guys on the new faces on this team, a lot of transfers, a lot of grad kids that hasn't played together before. And football is a game of continuity and being consistent with that continuity. And they just need to play football and buy in, and that's what they've done. They started believing in themselves first of all, because I've been saying it for a while. I knew that this was a good football team. They just had to believe in themselves, and now you can see the way they play. You know, we play hard, we play tough, we play physical. That's how we play, and that's the way we want to play and continue to play it. And they've been doing it for the past few weeks.
All right. We do have an additional question. Dr. Cavill, you're up.
Inside the HBC Sports Lab, Coach Dancy.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you about the physicality that your team plays with. Coaches have said it. It's obviously that we see it. If you would allow me to ask, you know, how do you coach a team to be physical, or how do you mentality that you're going to have a physical football team?
I think it's a mindset. You know, I think it start with the head coach. You know, like I tell you all the time, I was a guy grew up in the 80s of football, 90s of football when when it was tough, hard-nosed football. And that's just, you know, that's the attitude I bring every day. You know, it's hard to replicate it at practice, but, you know, it's something that I'm reiterating every day. You know, people going to take advantage of you if you play soft. And like I said, like I tell people all the time, we've never been predicted to win anything. So we got to go out there and show them who we are, but we're going to make them feel us first. And I think if that's the mentality that you have, you know, starting with the head coach and the assistant coaches, then I think it rubs off on players. Just that's who we are. That's the valid way. You know, nothing's easy. We're a blue collar team. Everything we get is earned, and that's how we're going to treat it once we get to Saturdays. You're going to have to earn everything you get. And that's coming in, and you're going to get hit. You just know you're going to get hit when you play us.
No doubt about it, Coach. I can see it, feel it. And so just wanted to say kudos for you for bringing that to the table.
Sure.
Good luck next game and the rest of the season. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Have a few more moments with head coach Vincent Dancy. Coach, once that turf arrives, who do you think will miss the grass the most on campus?
I don't think anybody missed the grass once we get field turf. So we just look forward to it whenever it arrives, you know. So like I say, man, I really don't think it has a lot to do with the grass. I just think it has a lot to do with where we at it. And it's just a hard place to get to, a hard place to settle down in for opposing teams, you know. So, yeah.
Got a couple of more minutes with head coach Vincent Dancy. Members of the media, if you have a question, please use the hand-raising icon on your Zoom or send a question through the chat. One more minute for head coach Vincent Dancy of Mississippi Valley State. And we do have one last question from Dr. Cavill.
I'll follow up since I got a chance to talk about this physical nature. Fans have been playing well on the defensive side of the ball. But in terms of you go back and forth from an offensive perspective, defensively, what are some things you've seen looking at them offensively and the toughness that you bring to the table defense? Some schematic things that you can get done against them, or you like to see your team try to get done?
No, I just think we just need to continue to improve every week. I think defensively, week in and week out, we've been getting better. Schematic wise, I just think we just have to continue to do what we do. And that's play our base defense well, be able to run to the ball, pursue the ball. Because FAMU is an offense that can be explosive. And I think we have to stop the explosive plays, be able to contain the number one, who's a great running back. But they have a talented football team, and we just don't want to do too much against a talented football team because they do a lot offensively. Offensively, when it comes to schematics, they do a lot, shifting, motioning, just to see what you're doing and see how you adjust to them. But I just think we just have to play a very, very sound football game defensively and make sure that we're running and tackling like we're supposed to do and not being out of gaps. And I think we'll be okay. Physicality wise, I think we're gonna match the physicality. I just don't want our guys to be overwhelmed about a lot of formations that they will see, a lot of motioning that they will see, and just adjust like they supposed to adjust. And I think we'll be just fine.
Thank you, Coach Dancy. Again, good luck this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach Dancy. And once again, they'll be playing Florida A&M in Itta Bena, 3 p.m. Central start, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you so very much. Next up, we have the head coach for Prairie View A&M University, Eric Dooley. This past week, they defeated Bethune-Cookman 35-29. This week, they will travel to Baton Rouge as the Southern Jaguars will host the Panthers of Prairie View A&M for Southern University's homecoming. That is a 6 p.m. Central start, 7 p.m. Eastern time start, and that game can also be found on ESPN+. Coach Dooley, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
All right. Good morning, Coach. If you could give us a recap of your victory against Bethune-Cookman and your initial thoughts on going to Southern University to take on the Jaguars.
Well, it was one of those games that I knew was going to be a hard-fought contest. Going down to Daytona to play Bethune-Cookman, very familiar with that, and just know the coach also well, that I knew he was going to have his team prepared to play. Not worried about the travel. Some things took place, but you just got to fight through adversity. I thought we got there, and guys, we got off to a slow start, and that's not our normal thing to get off to a slow start, but we did. But the thing that I commend my guys on, they fought for 60 minutes and made the plays that were allowed to those guys. But I do take my hat off to Coach Sims. Those guys played hard. They played for 60 minutes, and I expected that. In moving forward, going down to Baton Rouge is going to be another challenging game. You'll probably hear me say this every week that we have these teleconferences. Every game is going to be hard. I mean, this is a real good conference with a lot of great coaches and a lot of great players. So it's going to be very challenging. But every weekend you just got to accept the challenge.
All right, we do have members of the media who have raised their hand using the Zoom icons. So let's go over to Dr. Cavill, and then after that, we'll have James Hill, followed by Jim Kleinpeter. Dr. Cavill, you're up.
Thank you. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Dooley.
Good morning.
Talking about that trip over there, one thing that I noticed about this team, particularly this year, is the fact that they can win in so many different ways. Can you talk about putting a team together that has the ability to get it done, both offensively, defensively, special teams, and even offensively, various ways?
Yeah, that's what you want. You want to be able to be very versatile when you talk about a team, because each coach is going to try to take away certain things, but you just got to be prepared in all three phases. And of course, on offense as well, you got to have a passing game, you have a running game. You just got to do what's going to have you to be successful. And I think our team have taken that challenge on and understand that, whatever works for us, and we just got to continue to fight through whatever it is, and know that it's going to be sudden changes. And when those sudden changes come, we got to answer the call.
One quick follow-up about this weekend, top 10 matchup within the conference, divisional game that has a lot on the line. Talk about the environment going into Southern for their homecoming this week. You've been there before. You grew up in that environment in terms of playing ball down there. What do you want to get done or tell your team about going into this matchup if they hadn't already seen it?
This is what I say. it is a top 10 contest, but I have my polls too. Every game is a top 10 contest. I got my polls and everybody's in the top 10. So I know we got to have our hard hat on and get ready to play. It's an environment that you got to love as a college athlete, to go into an environment knowing that it's going to be a hostile environment, going to be fans there to watch you play. It's something you got to accept. Just understand that the stage can't ever get too big. You just got to go play and do your job. And I think everything else takes care of itself.
Thank you, Coach. I like that. Great perspective. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, James Hill, and then followed by Jim Kleinpeter and Terrence Harris. James Hill.
Hey, Coach Dooley, it's James Hill with BNC Sports. Mr. Spiller, the crafty wideout, he's a young gentleman who is really catching the football and taking advantage of that opportunity. Can you talk about what he's able to do out there and what you see so far?
He had a good game. He had a coming out party. The young man, he works extremely hard, but it's just like anything. He's a freshman. When we first got started off, I mean, you don't born a baby and just start giving him food. You got to give him baby food. So we had to spoon feed him just a little so he can grow and understand and get the grasp of the offense. I think the young man has a bright future. I mean, it's just one game though. Now you got to be consistent in that. But I love what he does. I love his mindset. His mindset is to try to dominate everything that he does. So just going to continue to coach him up and get him prepared to play some exciting football.
Coach, Baton Rouge, a very tough environment in terms of being a road team. Just talk a little bit about going in there. And again, it makes for a great contest.
Absolutely. Again, I think all environments should. When I grew up, every environment that you went to in the Southwestern Athletic Conference was tough. So, I mean, now it's just coming back full circle. So you got to love what it brings to the table. We're getting the attention that is well-deserved. So I accept the challenge, and the team will be ready as well. And I'm sure Coach Wallace will have his team ready to play.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Jim Kleinpeter and then Terrence Harris. Jim?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of teams nowadays that focus on running like Southern does. Does it create changes in your game preparation or the way you talk to your team going into the game when you know you're going to face a downhill running game?
No, it doesn't change preparation because you just can't go into a game just preparing to stop one thing. You got to go and have a game plan. That's old school football. There's no question about that. You talk to any coach, any player, what you need to do to be successful, stop the run. I mean, it's like it's something that's going to come out automatically, but they do a good job at what they do because they got some great offensive linemen, and now they just exposed another running back because I do know of the other young men that's running the football, but that's in anything that you do. You got to be able to stop the run. So that's football, and that's blocking and tackling.
And some of your impressions of Kobe Dillon, I guess that's a guy, he kind of has come out of nowhere this year.
Well, you say that, but no one comes out of nowhere. I mean, that's why they recruited him, because they know he would be a good player. Sometimes things just have to take place for young men to get success, to have success. The young man did what he was supposed to do. It was a great job by him. He turned it on. I'm very familiar with where he's from. I did recruit him out of high school, so I know of him very well. Good football player, but he's not the only one. They got a team full of good football players. And that's our conference. If you just want to put it anywhere else, that's the Southwestern Athletic Conference, loaded with talent.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, up next we have Terrence Harris. Terrence Harris, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you, Terrence?
I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, when you look at this team so far, what do you feel like is kind of the hallmark, that thing that you guys kind of, pin your hat to and say that this is what makes this team special?
Well, what makes the team special, and I think every coach will want to have, we're going to play every minute of the game, 60 minutes, regardless of what. We're going to line down and we're going to play. And, I just accept the challenges of what these young men are doing in practice. We see a lot of the game, but you got to see what take place throughout the week, the intensity, the way that they work, the way that they actually lead one another. So I think we have stepped up more than anything this year. Here's the leadership. When you got a lot of guys that's coming back and play together, that helps out a great deal.
Yeah. And and along those lines too, I mean, do you think having even though it was abbreviated that spring season, how much did that maybe help you guys or kind of give you a lift for this fall?
Well, I took advantage of it because you're going to always have spring practice. So
Right.
I didn't look at it as spring practice. You had, instead of having a glorified scrimmage every Saturday, we had a ball game. So we took advantage of that to get some guys experience, to get some guys prepared for this fall here. So it was a great spring for us, not like we wanted it to be because everything was different, but it was the new norm. We had to accept that challenge and move forward. We pride ourselves on sudden change. That was a sudden change that no one in the country expected. So we had to build off of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much, Head Coach Eric Dooley. This week, they're on the road taking on Southern University. That game is a 6 p.m. Central start, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can catch that game on ESPN+. Good luck to you, Coach Dooley, and you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Southern University Interim Head Coach Jason Rollins. Are you there, Coach?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, and this past weekend defeated Arkansas Pine Bluff 34-7, and this week they'll be taking on Prairie View A&M University for Southern University's homecoming. As we said earlier, you can catch that game on ESPN+. The Jaguars have not lost to Prairie View since 2015. Coach Rollins, your initial thoughts on your victory versus Pine Bluff and your initial thoughts on taking on the Panthers of Prairie View A&M.
Well, had a good hard-fought game up against Pine Bluff this past Saturday. Four-quarter game, physical, a lot of full contact football, as we like it. Came out on the winning side of it, and we're pleased with that. It's hard to get a win in this conference, especially on the road. So we're very grateful and fortunate for that. Looking forward to this upcoming game against Prairie View. It's going to be another four-quarter game. It's a very, very tough conference, very well-coached football team, very explosive on both sides of the ball. They play hard, full 4 quarters. They're tops in the conference, top 3 in offense, top 3 in defense. They're giving up only 18 points per game and averaging over 30 points per game offensively. So it's going to be a hard-fought ball game that we're looking forward to.
All right, we do have a number of members of the media who have made requests to ask questions. We will start with James Hill and then Black College Experience, followed by Jim Kleinpeter. First, James Hill, you're up.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody are well. Can you talk a little bit about Dylan? He was very aggressive. He went out and earned 3 touchdowns. And then also Ladarius Skelton was able to do his thing. He even scored. Talk a little bit about your offense.
Well, with Kobe Dillon, we see it every day in practice. He's a young man that works so hard every day. And he finally got his opportunity to get a start, and he took full advantage of it. So we're very happy with him and his progress he's making. It was great to get Ladarius Skelton back, to play in front of his home crowd, if you will. It was good to see him give us more weapons, some more versatility on our offense. So that was also good to see him getting back healthy.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Black College Experience, you're up next.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on your win this past weekend against UAPB. It looks like this week you ran the ball more, and it looks like they've done better on tackling. Can you talk a little bit about that, Coach?
Well, it's a process. It's just hard work. You get what you emphasize. We've been emphasizing and just getting to the ball and just getting back to fundamentals and basics of who we are. We are a physical ball club on both sides of the football field, offensively as well as defensively. So just kind of getting back to work, and it kind of showed this past Saturday.
All right. Happy homecoming, Coach.
All right, let's go over to Jim Kleinpeter. Jim, you're up.
Yeah, I get the one game at a time and everything. You've got the next 4 at home. How good does it feel to be going back home on a positive note coming out of that game, especially with what happened the week before?
Well, it's always good to play at home. I mean, it's the conference of home. This is where you practice. It's just in your comfort zone. And we have a very, very tough home crowd. So it's tough on the opposing team. With a packed house, the energy that it brings, our guys feed off that energy. So it's always great to play home. That's why they call it home field advantage, because there's the advantages of playing home.
Okay, I meant to ask you this the other night, but you got a kickoff guy that can put the ball in the end zone regularly, but y'all been going with these pooch kicks, the sky kicks, and it really paid off for you in the UAB game. You got a turnover out of that, and those are intentional, I guess. Is that what you're looking for, to either create a turnover or just pin them back?
To be honest, I'm gonna make you laugh. It was because of the wind. Both times we was kicking with the wind, so we couldn't get into the end zone. So why not hang it up high, because it wasn't going to get to the end zone, because in Dallas it was very windy, and this past Saturday it was very windy.
So you'd rather him just
So
go ahead and
don't overthink it. It was just because of the wind.
Yeah, because on a non-windy day, you just assume him kick it through the end zone.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so very much. Let's go over to Dr. Cavill and then Terrence Harris.
Inside Sports Lab, Coach Rollins wanted to talk about from a media perspective. This is a top 10 match, divisional game, extremely important. How do you speak to players in regards to not having them get too high for games that we will talk about all week about the importance of this game?
Well, every week in this conference is a top 10 matchup. So it's just like last week and the week before. So, it's every week. It's a very well-coached conference with a lot of great players. So every week is a top 10 matchup.
I like it, Coach. We can't get you out of it. Good, Coach B. Good luck to you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Terrence Harris and then Perry Daniels. Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
I'm going well.
Hey, when you look at a team like Prairie View, what do you feel like is important to try to take away from them first? What's the most important thing, or can you make a decision about one aspect or the other?
They're very balanced, very well balanced. If you look at them, they're we're 1 and 2 in the conference in running the ball. They're averaging 91 yards a game rushing. So you just can't focus on one thing. But if you go into any football game, you always have to stop the run. So that's always a focus. But if you sell out totally to stop the run, they have very explosive players on the edges that can beat you, and they have a really great quarterback. So we just have to play fundamentally sound football, read your keys, and play hard every play.
Yeah, and then and there's a lot paid attention to their offense, obviously. But what about defensively? What have you seen from them defensively?
Tell you what, defensively, they're flying around, making plays on the ball. They play fast and they play hard. Physical football team. Inside with Jason Dumas, Louisiana product, he'll be feeling pretty good coming back home. They have Drake Cheatham. They had a crucial pick 6 this past game. And Darius Campbell at DB, they're very loaded and athletic on the defensive side of the ball. Very well coached.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
All right, Perry Daniels, you're up next, then Jim Kleinpeter. Perry?
Coach, congratulations on bouncing back with the big win in Pine Bluff. If we could get an injury report, we saw Jordan Lewis come off the field injured Saturday, and if you could give us an update on Devon Ben.
Right now, we're hopeful. They're all questionable for this Saturday, so it's early in the week, but we're hopeful that they'll be available for this Saturday, but they're questionable.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
You're welcome.
All right, let's move over to Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach. I forgot my question. I just wanted you to talk a little bit about Juwan Pass. He's established himself at Prairie View and really has got them, they're 4-0 in the conference. So what do you see there?
Anytime that you could, 110 completions, 1,500 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, and also 213 yards rushing, big, strong, 6'5", 6'6", that could throw the ball deep and throw it underneath with accuracy. So, he's transferred, come from the University of Louisville for a reason. So he's a good football player, a true dual threat quarterback that can hurt you with both his arm and his legs.
Thank you.
All right, we have about 1 minute left with Coach Rollins, and we also see Coach Fred McNair on the line. Coach McNair, if you could wait until about 12:05, if that's okay with you, we can get your press opportunity at that time. Is that okay with you, Coach McNair?
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Okay, we'll come back to you at 12:05. All right, we have 1 more minute left with Coach Rollins. Coach Rollins, if I'm not mistaken, this will be your first homecoming event for Southern University?
Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be. Heard a lot about it, attended a few in college just as a spectator, but it'll be my first one as well.
So the players will keep you focused as far as your eyes and your stomach and everything else, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, every game is a homecoming with this crowd. So the Jag Nation shows up, whether you're on the road or away, is always a crowd. So it's going to be just a little bit more, but in a more familiar venue.
I understand. Once again, that game will be at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can catch it on ESPN Plus. Coach Rollins, good luck to you. And we can't wait to see that game on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. And Coach Rollins is done. And now we move over to head coach Clarence McKinney. Coach McKinney, are you there? Coach McKinney? Yeah, I can hear you now. All right. And this past week, Coach McKinney fell to Grambling State 34-20. This week, they'll be taking on Alcorn State, hosting that game in Houston. 7 p.m. Central Time is the start. You can catch that game on the AT&T Sportsnet regionally. Coach McKinney, if you could talk about the Grambling football game and your upcoming matchup against Alcorn State.
Yeah, this past weekend, went to Grambling, lost a tough, hard-fought game, very physical game for us. I thought our defense played extremely well, created some turnovers, but offensively, we didn't quite show up the way we expect. Turned the ball over about 5 times and couldn't recover. Our upcoming opponent, Alcorn State, doesn't get any easier. They're one of the top teams in our conference, top teams in HBCU football. Quarterback's extremely talented, and we have our work cut out for us.
All right. If we have any questions, we do have some members of the media who have raised their hand using the Zoom. We'll go to James Hill. James Hill, you're up and you're with Coach McKinney.
Coach McKinney, I hope you and everybody are well. Andrew threw the ball around a little bit and he was successful. He had a couple picks. Can you talk about what you see from your quarterback and your offensive side of the football?
It was just, you got to give credit to Grambling and their defense, disguising some things for Andrew. It's just part of growing pains. A young kid has to see coverages a little bit better, and he'll be better this week, and he'll get better as he continues to play more.
In closing, just talk about the rigors of the season. You're in the middle of it. And each weekend there's a big game. Just talk about coaching your team throughout the season.
Yeah, that's the fun part about it. Each week you're playing one of the better teams in the league. It seems like we're playing a top 10 team week in and week out. And it's easy to get up to play those games. So our guys are motivated and excited for the next opportunity to play this weekend.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week and a great weekend.
Thank you. You do the same.
All right, we have Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill.
Thank you. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Coach McKinney, go back to that game a little bit before we move forward. Second question is just you talked about that you're going to have these ups and downs with freshman quarterback, and you're going to live with it. You got your ups against Southern, and you had your downs against Grambling. But I want to focus on the defense, as you talked about it really seemingly improved. Talk a little about more about how you see the defense continuing to improve this season.
Yeah, for one, this was probably the first game we've had everyone that we anticipated to play defensively available for us. And so there's a lot of depth there, a lot of guys that we feel like are really talented. And, each week as you go, the guys start to understand your scheme a little bit better. And so watching film of our opponent and matching it with our scheme, we feel like, we're playing defense a lot better than what we've played previously.
Quick follow-up question as you talk about it. Week to week in the league, it seems like you're playing a top 10 team. Top 10 team coming in Alcorn State Braves, at least in a lot of people's polls, a lot of eyes. They've been a champion. Obviously didn't play in the spring, but they're coming back playing pretty solid. What are some things that you need to get done in this game? First from a defensive perspective, then offensive, if you would.
Well, defensively, we gotta stop the run and don't let the quarterback. I mean, we know he's exceptional and he's gonna get his, but we gotta kind of control it a little bit and not give up big plays. And offensively, I mean, we just got to go out and be ourselves and take care of the ball and stay ahead of the chains and put some points on the board.
Is it good to come back because of being at home after being on the road the last couple of weeks?
Say it one more time, Doc.
Is it a good position to feel to be about coming back to the confines after being on the road the last couple of weeks?
Definitely. We've been on the road the last couple of weeks. You know, you get back home, you get a chance to play in front of our fans, in front of our student body, and you know, you don't have that travel. So it's definitely going to be a good situation for us playing back at home.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to it.
We have 4 minutes remaining with Coach Clarence McKinney. They'll be hosting Alcorn State University, 7 p.m. start Central, 8 Eastern. You can catch that game regionally on the AT&T Sportsnet. If you're a member of the media, you have a question, please raise your hand or use the chat. 4 minutes remaining with head coach McKinney. And we do have a couple of people on, James Hill and then Dr. Cavill. Mr.
Coach
Hill, you're up.
Coach McKinney, James Hill with BNC Sports. The COVID-19 aspect of football, and it has disrupted life over the last few years. Is that still something that you guys pay attention to, or how do you handle the protocol as you continue to play football games throughout the season? Just give us an update on the coaching perspective and during a pandemic.
So we're following certain COVID guidelines, but our team's about 90% vaccinated. And so the guys that aren't vaccinated, they get tested 3 times a week. And guys that are vaccinated, if they show symptoms, then we get those guys tested. It's been a challenge, just like for everyone else. And we've been fortunate that we hadn't had very many of our guys lose time due to COVID.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And Dr. Cavill, you're back up.
Thank you. Coach, what does it say about your team that really seems to be there, that it's important for them to follow the guidelines such that they can, and that so many of them love to play?
Dr. Cavill, you're breaking up on me. I can't understand your whole question.
Paula, if I can try this again. I was going to ask you, what does that say about your team in regards to the maturity of them wanting to play the game and following the protocol, allow them to be able to play?
It says a great deal about our team. They love the sport. They love playing football. They love playing for the university. And guys are willing to make those sacrifices to do those things. And it says a lot about our team's closeness, because nobody's everyone's sacrificing for the good of the team, for the seniors to have a true senior season, and everyone's going through it, and our guys just want to play the season, and they made that sacrifice to go out and get vaccinated.
One follow-up is the freshman quarterback everybody's talking about, but then your wide receivers, Cullen Davis, 6'2", 187 pounds, playing really well. Student Jonathan Giles. How does that work when you have mature years of experience at the wide receiver, but a young quarterback? Talk to me a little bit, and how does it work?
It just takes a lot of reps. You know, it takes a lot of before practice, after practice, time put in for those guys to get on the same page and understand each other. And the 2 seniors have been really good for that room, because there's a room full of freshmen. And they shown those guys, as well as showing our young quarterbacks, what hard work looks like and what it takes to be successful in this league.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this
Thank you.
weekend again.
Thank you.
All right, we have 1 more minute remaining. 1 more minute with head coach Clarence McKinney of Texas Southern. They'll be hosting Alcorn State this Saturday. Time is 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. You can catch that game on AT&T Sportsnet. Coach, we thank you so very much for joining us, and good luck to you this week.
Thanks for having us.
All right, next up, we have head coach of Jackson State University, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. They were victorious this past week, and they will be hosting Bethune-Cookman, 1 p.m. Central start, 2 Eastern, and that will be in Jackson. This past week, they were victorious over Alabama State. Jackson State won 28-7. Coach Prime, are you there?
Showing those guys as well as showing our young.
Right now.
Okay. All right, Coach. Thank you for joining us.
Where am I?
First of all, your
okay.
All right, your thoughts on the victory and the crowd, and also your initial thoughts.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this video stuff together. I don't see myself. I don't see none of you guys. I don't see nothing. Give me something. There we go. That's much better. How's everyone?
Doing fine, Coach. Doing fine.
God bless everyone. Wonderful game. First of all, it's my first homecoming. I've heard all the hoopla about the pageantry and how wonderful the history was about HBCU's homecoming, but finally I got an opportunity to experience it, and it exceeded all expectations. I'm very appreciative and thankful of the attendance of, I believe, 53,578 homecoming record. Tremendous television coverage and what we accomplished as well. It was a tremendous success. Alabama State played a valiant game. They gave it their best. I think we were just a little better on Saturday, but it was a good game. Competitive. Defense showed up like it normally does. They played lights out. Offense, we ran the heck out of the football. We really did. We were really, really excited about that, the way the lineman blocked, and we got after it, and we were able to score some points and then seal the victory. So it was a great game. I'm happy with the outcome. Let's do it.
Coach, your initial thoughts on taking on Bethune-Cookman?
Give me some volume, dog. I can't barely hear him. Say that again. I'm sorry.
Your initial thoughts on playing Bethune-Cookman this week?
Well, that's from my neck of the woods. Even though I wasn't recruited by Bethune-Cookman, there was always a thought coming out of high school that, hey, man, we're going to Bethune. It was kind of like not a funny thing, not a hilarious thing, but we thought like that, but we were never recruited by any of the HBCUs. But I'm excited. I'm excited because it's from a home state. I'm excited because I understand how wonderful this institution has been in the wonderful players that they birthed through the years. And I'm excited. I really am, especially be playing another home game.
All right. We do have a number of members of the media who would have questions. First up is James Hill, then Black College Experience, followed by Mark Gray. James Hill, you are up.
Coach Prime, is James Hill with BNC Sports. I've been watching Shedeur since his sophomore year. On Saturday, he was able to go 17 of 29 for 201 and 2. Can you just talk about his development, and every weekend he gets better?
Well, he didn't play his best game this week. I think some of the route combinations and some things that threw up against us really derailed him a bit, but the running game was very substantial. Shedeur is a constant professional. He works his butt off. He studies, he prepares like no other, and he's a born leader. So I love what he's bringing to us at Jackson State. I love what he's bringing to the SWAC, but most of all, I love what he's bringing to just FCS, period. He's challenging us and our coaching staff to coach and teach and instruct and develop him at a whole nother level. He's not a normal kid just coming out of high school. He demands more. He really does. You got to see the way he prepares on a week-to-week basis. It's very admirable.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck going forward.
I appreciate you.
All right, next up is Black College Experience, followed by Mark Gray. Black College Experience, you're up.
Hey, Coach Prime, Keisha Kelly from Black College Experience. You got a chance to experience that atmosphere and all of that. I know you did say something, well, it was on social media about recruits coming. Can you talk about how they would enjoy the atmosphere, seeing that many people?
I'm on my scooter, so I can't get around much, but I tried my best to ride down the sidelines and end zone to really greet them and shake their hands. I think we accommodated 200 recruits. I know we had requests for 345 to be exact, and because I care about those type of numbers to see can we accommodate more. It was really, really good. I think we had several unofficial visits that had great visits. I mean, you could ask for more. On official visit to see that atmosphere, to see the fanfare, to see the culture, to see what we presented, and to win at that. It was phenomenal. So I'm ecstatic about the homecoming. I just wish we some kind of way can translate that feeling, that atmosphere, that mood into every week. That's what the Power Fives do. The numbers we had, we're extremely thankful. But what about this week? So what we do, we digress, or we push forward and say, you know what, this needs to be normalcy. It shouldn't just be homecoming. I know finances play a major role in the economic understanding of our people, but I wish we could get to the point where that 53,000 is the expectation week in and week out. That affects the economy. That affects so much. Hotels are all packed, restaurants are all packed, the shopping plazas are all packed. Therefore, the state and the city makes so much more revenue. Now we can have a say-so in where that's distributed. Now our roads are paved much better, and the cities look a lot better because of what we're bringing to the table. That's the way I think, sis, and that's the way I think things should be. I just wish we could have consistency in these type of numbers and not just for homecoming.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Your hair looking good too, girl. You go ahead.
Thanks, Coach.
I'll see you.
All right, next up is Mark Gray and then Dr. Cavill. Mark Gray, you're up.
Hey, Coach Prime, how are you?
I'm great.
I just wanted to ask you about, as you approach the stretch drive to the finish line of the season, where are you looking to get better? Where have you seen the most improvement?
I think we could get better in all phases. Running the football, number one. The passing game, that's the overall structure and the route combinations, and just overall play calling. TC Taylor's done a tremendous job. We had a great outpouring of offense a week ago. We digressed a little bit this week. Defense is playing superb, but we're not forcing turnovers. We hadn't had an interception yet. How can you be the number one defense in the SWAC and you have not one darn interception yet? I don't even understand how can those statistics even be married to one another. Special teams, the punt game, the kicking game could be so much better, not only in depth on kickoff as well as punting, but the return team, we got to cover it a little better. We got to cover a little better. So in every phase, we could do so much better. Our goal is to win every snap, every series, every quarter, every half, consequently the game. I think 2 weeks ago we lost the fourth quarter. I think we lost one quarter here. Or the second quarter, did we tie? Second quarter? Yeah. We don't like that. We like to win every quarter. That's the common goal. So there's so much room for improvement. We got to practice better. We played like we practiced. We were horrible in the beginning, just like we was horrible early in the week, and we turned it on at the end of the week, and we can't do that. We need to have a consistency of practice.
All right. I guess as an intangible, how much of a cultural awakening for you with a person who has football in your spirit for all your life to see you or be a part of your first Black College Football Classic, now your first homecoming. You speak with such reverence. It seems like it hits you deep down in your soul, those two experiences.
Yeah, it really did, my man. I really want you to understand it really did because, oh, shoot, how can I say this eloquently?
Keep it real, do you?
That's the only way I know. I'm trying not to go too real. Okay, that's the problem. I got to remember I'm a coach. Sometimes I can't go too real. I've been amongst my people all my life, but not amongst my people. So just seeing everything and being amongst my people, involved with my people, in the midst of my people, is totally different than when you're on the field and you're performing. I'm not performing anymore. I'm helping building, to build, to magnify, to construct, to enlarge, to improve everything that I'm doing amongst my people. And that's the difference. And I'm getting the opportunity to indulge in it. I love it. I got on the golf cart and drove down, what's the whole strip that we call? The Garden? The Yard? I know it's the Yard. It's another name for it. There's got to be another name for that whole strip of the corridor down the whole college that I know it's the Yard. Everybody like, man, knows the Yard. But it's something else we call down the whole strip of the university. It's like during a half a mile long. And to get on a darn golf cart, man, with my kids and to see that, it was unbelievable. I mean, people were selling items, food was for sale. They were stepping, but it was peace, man. We had no ignorance, no adolescence, no foolishness. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Embraced it in its totality. That's what I love.
All right, let's move on quickly. Dr. Cavill and then Kendrick Marshall.
Coach Prime, what I ask you about everything I've read, heard, talked to you about is your level for perfection. Yes, and you've done it at the highest level. Now, in terms of translating coaching team, how do you seek to get that done for your players? Ranked number one in a lot of the polls, top 25. How do you get them to understand to get better in terms of perfection?
Well, I don't buy rankings. I don't believe in rankings. I don't know who do the rankings. I don't know where they get their license to rank anything. But it's certain goals and certain marks that we want to set. And I could find that little thing that we need to do when somebody say, oh, that's great. I'm looking at it now, that's good. Because I have a greater expectation. And now our team has that same expectation. Everyone could be clapping for them and cheering for them, and they're coming out the field saying, dang, we ain't got an interception yet. Darn it, we should have returned that punt. Darn it, we should have made that field goal. We should have nailed that punt inside the 10-yard line, but no, we kicked it in the darn end zone to lost field position, to lose at least 20 yards of field position. So that's the way we're thinking. But you got to impregnate the mind with that understanding and that thought process, because oftentimes you would think you're doing great, but you really ain't doing good because of the cold hand claps of people that don't even know your middle name. So I'm that navigational system inside of them that's able to tell them directly where they are with no hesitation.
No doubt about it. Thanks, Coach Brown.
Thank you, my man.
Final question, Kendrick Marshall, you're up.
Yeah, Coach, as said previously, you guys are in first place in the SWAC East, undefeated in the conference. You're ranked in several FCS polls, but the downside of that is if you guys win the division and win the SWAC, you have to play in a Celebration Bowl. Any thoughts of wanting to play in the FCS postseason in the playoffs and play for a national championship?
I don't think that's a downside. I think that's a blessing because that's the structure that we're playing within. Sure, my mind thinks larger. Sure, my mind thinks bigger. Sure, I want to play and be able to challenge for it all. Sure, I think like that. You know that. But I'm going to play and be thankful and appreciative of the structure that we have until we start to stand up and change the structure. And I'm pretty sure you're going to hear about that soon. But no, I'm happy. I'm elated to have that opportunity. And last time I checked, what was that game? If we're blessed to be in that game, where is it located?
It's in Atlanta.
That's what I thought. Oh, Lord, that's what I thought. They told me the truth. They said it was in Atlanta. They said if you win it all, you got an opportunity to go play in Atlanta. And I said, Lord, I thank you. Lord, I thank you.
Coach, we thank you so very much for joining us. Once again, you'll be hosting Bethune-Cookman, 1 p.m. Central Start, 2 p.m. Eastern in Jackson, Mississippi. Coach, we thank you so very much.
Thank you all. God bless you.
God bless you. Please, members of the media, hold on. We have Coach Fred McNair. Coach McNair, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. We do have head coach Fred McNair. We thank you for joining us this past week. You were winners over Mississippi Valley State, 24-12. Your defense held them out of the end zone. They only gave up 4 field goals. This week, you're on the road taking on Texas Southern, 7 p.m. start. That game is available regionally on AT&T Sportsnet. Coach McNair, your initial thoughts on the victory and your initial thoughts on this week's game.
Yeah, first of all, let me apologize for being late this morning, man. I had a lot of stuff going on here on campus this morning, and got to miss the practice this morning, so trying to get out of practice and trying to get in here, man. So I got caught up in a lot of stuff. Do want to apologize to you guys for that. On the game against Mississippi Valley this past weekend, it was a great ball game. And my hat's off to Coach Danzy and that great group of coaches that he got on the staff. Such a wonderful job that he's doing with Mississippi Valley State in terms of playing hard and putting forth effort each and every weekend. He's really doing a great job up there with that group of guys. And, offense, we came out. We scored 14 points there in the first half, and our defense played exceptionally well, holding the team down to 4 field goals inside the 20, and plus he had a 50-yard field goal. So they played exceptionally well. I'm proud of what they did. The bend don't break rule, but it's been great for what we're doing here on this campus here at Alcorn State in terms of just constantly winning ball games, which is the ultimate goal. We got a real good team in Texas Southern. We got to travel there this weekend. Coach McKinney is doing a great job with that football program he got. They got some real good players. The quarterback started with the quarterback, good running backs, and they start on defense. We got a job cut out for it. I was telling the team this morning during the team meeting that, it's a very competitive league now. So every weekend you have to lace your cleats up and play every Saturday, play your game. So we know we got to go in playing at Texas Southern this coming Saturday.
All right, we do have members of the media who are eager to speak with you. First up is James Hill and then Kendrick Marshall. James Hill, you're up.
Hey, Coach McNair, I hope you and everybody at Alcorn State University are well. Mr. Felix Harper, Mr. Duffy, and also Mr. Pringle, they played some quality football. They scored, and they did things the Alcorn way. Can you talk a little bit about your team and the offensive side and just moving forward?
Well, still I think that at that quarterback we still do things better. We constantly doing things that we normally do as far as the passing concepts and what he's doing with the football. But he has to know he's the leader of this offense, so he has to conduct himself that way. A lot of things that he's doing, we got to change some of the stuff that he's doing in terms of his read and progression and stuff. So, work's still in progress. Pringle, he's solid receiver, and things he do, catch the ball well, run decent routes. And Nico Duffy, can't say enough about him. He's a great pass protector. He's good in the passing game. He catches the ball well out of the backfield, and he runs between the tackles, which is a good thing for him. So we just got to keep it going, just keep those guys upright, and basically just got to keep them healthy.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Kendrick Marshall. Kendrick, you're up.
Yeah, Coach. You talked last week about how you were kind of disappointed in the way Felix has played this season, being a bit inconsistent. This past week, did you kind of get the sense that he was kind of getting it, trying to be a little bit more better with his consistency?
Well, in some sense of it, but there's still some that's left out there. Just the amount of him practice this morning and just working on his consistency, what he's doing. That's the thing I talked about in the meeting this morning as a team. the consistency of this program. We got to get a whole lot better at that, making sure we're doing our things the right way, and then that falls on everything that we do in coaching and the things that we need them to get done. So we're still working on that, and hopefully it'll be a turnaround this week.
Thanks.
All right, next up is Dr. Cavill. Dr. Cavill, you're up.
Coach McNair, your championship level program, so you're still winning, but offensively, are you playing at the level that you would think this team could play at, or is it about just getting better week to week, particularly through the season?
We always can get better week to week, and that's the thing that we try to improve on during the course of the week. Each week, elevate our game up, because our expectations high as coaches, and these young men that we coach, and they knows that. We just got to make sure that we're doing the right thing as coaches, put them in the best position to make plays and develop them during the course of the week to go out on Saturday and play their best ball game. And there's always room for improvement, and I think that we have to do that.
Defensively, team has been stellar for years. Another strong showing defense. How do you think they're coming along?
I think what Coach Thornton is doing is take pride in what he do on defense and get them young men to understand what he's trying to get them to do. And we talked about this morning, just put it on the coaches, put it on the coaches. If you make a mistake, let the coaches make the mistake. Just go out and do what we ask to do and just play hard. Give us 64 minutes of football, and that's all we ask you to do.
You take that road trip, you come on down to Houston. Texas Southern University that had a big win a couple of weeks ago, tough loss. You played it now. This is a divisional game in terms of how the conference is. But outside of that, the game in itself, what do you see Texas Southern University? How do you want to attack them, either offensively or defensively?
Well, they got a lot of things they're doing so well, and we have to go back and watch more film on them and see where we can attack them at and find out the weakness, whether it's on defense, offense, or special team. But we have to make sure that we comb through it with a fine comb and make sure we point out all the things that we find that is that. But they're pretty stout. I mean, they have good defense. They're gonna play hard. Like I said, this conference has really elevated up on the plane of perfection. And I think our team have improved over the course of the years to where, it's not a weekend off. The young men know that we got to go play. We got to go play Texas Southern. So they know it's going to be a hard-fought battle at the end of the day.
All right, we got about three more minutes. Got about 3 more minutes left for head coach Fred McNair. About 3 more minutes left for head coach Fred McNair of Alcorn State. If you have a question, please use the hand-raising icon in your Zoom, or you can ask a question in the chat. 3 more minutes. And we do. James Hill, you're up.
Coach McNair, the rivalry between Alcorn State University and Southern over the years and the different episodes there, can you just dive into that process and what that's been like for you personally?
It's been a great rivalry, not to overlook the one we got to play this Saturday in Texas Southern. So, that rivalry will always continue to be a good rivalry, whether it's home or whether it's there. But, we got to face a good Texas Southern football team, and our Coach McKinney going to have those guys ready to play, like normal. So once we get to Southern, we'll play them. But right now, I'm more focused on the one we have this coming Saturday at 7 o'clock than looking ahead and to a Southern team. But I think that what we got to do Saturday is bring A game back to the table and play real hard and execute on offense. And we have that bend but don't break rule on defense. So I think what we're doing and what we're trying to do as far as team-wise is make sure that we have everything to perfection.
When you look at Texas Southern, what are some of the things that you see from that ball club that they do well and you want to look for?
Well, they run the ball well. They run the ball exceptionally well. The quarterback, I think, maybe the lead rusher from a standpoint and everything. So we got to make sure we bottle him up and take away the things that they does well. That's one thing that we have to do on our defense side of the ball. And on offense, I think that what we got to do is make sure that we're in the right personnel to kind of make them make some adjustments to what we're doing in those terms. So special team, we just got to be solid. We got to be solid across the board on all special teams. We go in this try and play a perfect ball game, the Alcorn brand of football.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week and a great game.
Thank you, sir.
Coach Fred McNair, we thank you so very much for joining us. We do understand you got things that you got to take care of on campus. We wish you good luck as you head to Houston, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.